Welcome to Meeple Mentor. I'm Jared, and we're about to play Ark Nova. Let's take a look. I'll show you how. Feel free to pause the video as needed to follow along with your copy of the game. My goal is this video can not only teach you to play, but can be shown at the game table to help set up and teach the game at your next game session. As part of that goal, I've added chapter timestamps in the description to the different sections of the tutorial to easily recap relevant rules for you. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell below the video so you don't miss any of my latest content. Ark Nova is all about building your own modern, scientifically managed zoo while supporting conservation projects around the world. Build enclosures for animals, gathering a diversity of species to increase the attractiveness of your zoo. Generate higher income by increasing your appeal and supporting breeding programs and conservation projects which advance your conservation track and bonuses. Partner with zoos, universities, specialists, and sponsors to make good progress. Whoever achieves the best combination of appeal and conservation with the best built zoo will win the game. Let's look now at how to set it up. Place the game board in the middle of the table. The only difference on the sides is which orientation the card display is in the middle. Place the coffee cup break token on the space of the break track that corresponds to your player count. Take the 9 yellow bonus tiles and shuffle them up. Place 4 random ones onto these 4 blank spaces on the board. The rest can return to the game box. Shuffle the zoo cards and create a face-down deck placed on this space of the game board. Then deal 6 cards face down onto the 6 spaces in the center of the board. Place the association board next to the game board, leaving space below and above it for cards. In the middle of the board, place the 5 partner zoos in their spaces. There will be 1 for each color and continent. Now fill the 3 university spaces with the 3 unique universities, only 1 placed for each. Shuffle the green base conservation project cards and keep them face down next to the board on the left. Deal out the top 3 cards face up below the association board. If playing a 4-player game, deal a 4th one as well. In a 2-player game, take 6 cubes of an unused color and cover up several of the scoring spaces on these cards. Put one covering the left level on the left card, middle level on the middle card, and right level on the right card. Additionally, cover the 3 spaces in the left column of the donation area. All these spots are blocked and unavailable for the 2 players to use. Now shuffle the final scoring cards and put the deck next to the association board. Deal 2 to each player. Keep them hidden from other players, only you can look at them. You can use the organizers to put the various tokens in to sort or create supply piles on the table. You'll have different hex sizes of animal enclosures, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You'll also have some special enclosures, including the petting zoo, reptile house, and large bird aviary. There's single hex pavilions and kiosks as well. The special landscape hex tiles with animal images on them are only used for specific cards that come out. You'll also have a collection of yellow and red interactive tokens which have various effects. Those are only used with certain cards. There's also some 2x multiplier tokens. There's X tokens, which are useful to increase the power of your actions. And lastly, money. I've replaced the money tokens in my game with ones from another I wasn't using anymore. Let each player choose a color to be and give them all the pieces in the matching color. Give each player a zoo map board. There's multiple to choose from, including the standard one, Map A. For your first game, it's recommended everyone use the A side of the standard map. The other 4 boards have side 0, which is another set of identical maps you can use, maybe for your second game. In future games, you can use the backs of them, numbered 1 to 8. You can choose to randomize 2 maps out to each player and let them choose one, or you can lay out a number of them on the table equal to the number of players plus 1. Then let players choose from that in reverse turn order. Unused maps can return to the game box. Map A says to add a 3 hex-sized animal enclosure to the bottom left corner to get you started. Plus it has a starting kiosk printed on the map. Make sure the enclosure is placed on the yellow side, meaning it's currently unoccupied. Give each player a set of 5 action cards. They are identical. There's Build, Cards, Animals, Association, and Sponsors. These all start below your board on the blue side number 1. Put the Animals card in the first slot, then randomize the locations of the other 4. Put 7 cubes of your color onto the spots for them at the left of your zoo map. The rest of the cubes can sit off the map near you for later. Put 1 association worker on your notepad and the other 3 laying down below it on the spaces for them. Determine a first player in whatever way you want. Turns will go clockwise from them for the remainder of the game. Everyone should put their counters on the main game board on the 3 tracks. One goes at 0 on the conservation track, one at 0 on the reputation track, and the last one's on the appeal track. The first player puts their counter at 0 on the appeal track, then the second player at 1, third at 2, and fourth at 3. Everyone places $25 from the supply onto the notepad of their map. Anything here is what's available to you. Next, each player draws 8 zoo cards from the deck. Choose 4 to keep in your hand and discard 4 to a face-up discard pile on the game board. Your hand is kept secret. After everyone has chosen their cards to keep, reveal the 6 zoo cards on the main game board. You're now ready to begin. A game of Ark Nova proceeds turn after turn without any rounds or phases. Instead, some actions players take can advance the break token on its track. When that reaches the end, you perform a break at the end of the current player's turn. During that, players will discard down to their hand limit, recall workers, gain income, and some other steps. After resolving it, continue with the next player's turn clockwise like normal. Other than that, there's no rounds. The game proceeds turn after turn like this until a player's appeal token and conservation token meet or cross each other on their tracks on the outside of the board. They start at opposite ends of the board and move in opposite directions towards each other. On a player's turn, they take one action by choosing one of the 5 action cards below their board. Many times the action can trigger a series of effects and bonuses, leading to some big combo turns. With the cards, you'll be able to expand your zoo, play zoo cards, draw new zoo cards, and interact with the association board. Up to 4 of the action cards can be upgraded during the game, flipping them over and giving them stronger effects. You may choose any action card to resolve on your turn, but the strength of it depends on its position. The number above each slot shows the strength of the action card in that slot. After completing the action, move the card to the first position and slide the rest forward to the right. This is how cards can get stronger. By increasing your appeal token, you'll also increase your income collected during the break times. Increasing your conservation token will slowly gain you bonuses attached to the spaces. Also, once any player has reached the 10th space, all players must discard one of their final scoring cards. If no player has done this by the end of the game, everyone will still discard one of them just at the end of the game. The reputation track is in the middle and also provides bonuses on certain spaces when advancing there. When moving your token to the next folder, the card there becomes within range for you. Some actions and cards refer to your reputation range. This is the ability to take or play cards up to where your token is on the track. Anytime you remove a card from the board, don't refill anything until your turn is over. Then slide cards down from the higher number to the lower number and draw from the top of the deck for the empty spaces. You'll notice that to increase your reputation counter to space 10 or higher, you must have upgraded your card's action card to side 2. The zoo on your board is the large area in the middle surrounded by greenery, water, and rocks. You'll be able to build inside this map, placing hexes tiles on it adjacent to existing tiles. However, you can't build on water or rock tiles or extend past the outer edge. There are 3 special enclosures that you can only have one of each: the petting zoo, reptile house, and large bird aviary. Anytime you cover a yellow bonus icon, you get that placement benefit immediately. The hex spaces that have the shovel and number 2 shown are unavailable until you upgrade the build card to its 2 side. Likewise, the reptile house and bird aviary can't be built until the build card is upgraded to side 2. Generally, anywhere you see a blue background indicates it's possible with side 1 of an action card, but anywhere with a pinkish purple background requires side 2 of a card. For example, you can gain 4 of the 5 partnership zoo tokens, but these are added from bottom up on their indicated spots. The third and fourth ones can't be placed until you upgrade your association card to side 2. You can hold all 3 university tokens on your map, but they are added from bottom to top. You must take a different one each time. Anytime you cover a bonus, you get it immediately. The 3 extra association workers are removed from bottom to top when you earn one. If there's a bonus underneath it, you gain it when you earn that worker. Available workers, money, and X tokens sit in your notepad to indicate they are usable. The 7 cubes on the left can only be removed to support conservation projects. At the start of the game, only the starting projects under the association board are available. Any others must be played by you or other players. You use a cube to claim the conservation award and unlock the benefit shown next to the cube you used. Each cube gives you an immediate benefit, as shown by the yellow icon with the lightning bolt. However, the top 4 also give you their benefit during income during a coffee break. Each map has a special ability written on the bottom of it. Everyone has the same one in your first game using the same map. You'll want to check what your map's ability is if using one of the advanced maps. You'll find 3 types of zoo cards throughout the game that each do something a little different. They are played in different ways too, but I'll get into that later. Played animal cards and sponsor cards sit in front of you on the table. Cards can provide icons like continents, research, and animal types, and are found in the top right of the cards. There's Africa, Americas, Asia, Australia, and Europe. For the animal types, there's birds, herbivores, predators, primates, reptiles, bears, and petting zoo animals. You can also gain research icons from the universities. I'll note that some cards' normal effects won't work in a solo game. In those cases, if you're playing solo, you'll see special text at the bottom of the card to do instead. You can ignore all that when not in a solo game. Animal cards look like this and have a picture of an animal on it with its name in the center. When playing the card, pay the money shown at the top left and gain the appeal points and conservation points as shown. They require an empty enclosure in your zoo to be played. The minimum size required is the number shown in the hex at the top left. Any other requirements to play the card will be shown on the left below the hex size and money cost. Some additional requirements could be to have a certain number of icons in your zoo, have a partnership, have an upgraded action card, or have a minimum number of reputation. There's one that requires your zoo appeal to be at 25 or less to play it. The partnership requirement on an animal card must match the continent the animal is from. Look at the continent icon at the top right of the cards. Sponsor cards are blue and have an action strength cost shown in the top left of the card. They let you build unique buildings in your park, hire specialists, gain in-game scoring methods, and other special effects. If the sponsor card requires a partnership, it can be with any continent. Anything in a yellow area with the lightning bolt is given to you as soon as you play the card. Anything with the hourglass icon and a brown background indicates in-game effects or scoring. Sponsors provide special icons to your park as shown at the top right, plus could gain you extra income during the break phase. Lastly, there's the green conservation cards that have a special method of earning conservation points at the bottom of them. The top left of the card uses icons to indicate what the card is asking for you to collect in your park. It could be specializing in a specific type of animal, continent, or a diversity of things. Some of these projects ask you to reintroduce animals to the wild by literally giving up the animal from your zoo. Conservation project cards from players are played in the slots above the association board. They get placed in the first slot and slide down any cards in the row to the right. On your turn, you can either choose an action card to resolve its printed effects or gain 1 X token. Then play proceeds to the next player. If gaining an X token, put it on your notepad. However, you are limited to 5. The X tokens can be spent to increase the strength of an action card when resolving it. For some actions, you may want to even exceed 5 strength to do more that turn, or take an even bigger action. To take the X token as your turn, you must still move an action card to the first slot. You can't do this if you already have 5 X tokens. Normally, your turn will be to choose an action card and perform its effects. After choosing the action card, note its strength by its current position and boost it with any X tokens you wish. The further to the right the card is when you do it, the stronger it is for you. Then do the effect of the card. So if you gain an X token from the card effect, you can't use that token to boost the current action. Some zoo cards allow you to activate something after finishing your action. This means complete the action on the chosen card and move the cards before doing the new effect. After completing the action, you'll move the card to the first space and slide the rest down. Your action cards start on side 1, but could be flipped over in 4 possible ways. Whenever flipping the card, it stays where it is. Side 2 is the upgraded and enhanced side of the card. The 4 places to flip an action card are the Conservation track, the Reputation track, gaining a second zoo partnership, and gaining a second partner university. It's not possible to upgrade all 5 cards in a single game. For a quick overview of the 5 action cards, the card's action lets you gain new zoo cards from the deck or the display. The build action card lets you place animal enclosures in your park by paying $2 per hex. You can build kiosks and pavilions too. All new buildings added to your map must be placed adjacent to existing tiles. The Animals action lets you play an animal card to fill an empty enclosure. You must have met the requirement on the card, pay the money shown, and fill an enclosure that's at least as big as the required size. The Animals can give you abilities, income, icons, and more. The Association action lets you use association workers on the association board to work in zoological associations. Your reputation can increase, and you can gain universities and zoo partnerships. You can also support conservation projects and even donate money to animal conservation to gain conservation points. Lastly, the Sponsors action lets you play sponsor cards in front of you, adding them to your zoo. They can support you with abilities or fund a special project like a unique building. Most have an ongoing effect, in-game point method, or income. Sponsors can end up helping you gain appeal or conservation points. When you play a card with multiple effects, you can trigger them in the order you want. Of course, some effects say after finishing. There's several bonuses printed on the game board that are always there if you reach it with one of your counters, plus the 4 random ones mixed in, and ones shown on your map board. I'll cover what they all are. I've already shown where the 4 bonuses are to flip over your action cards. There are 4 spaces of the Conservation track that award you a bonus. At 2 points, you choose to either upgrade an action card or gain a new association worker. You don't get both. Anywhere you see the worker icon bonus, you can gain one. There's also one on the Reputation track, one on your zoo map, and one for placing your third partnership. At spaces 5 and 8, you can gain $5 or take one of the random bonus tokens placed there. When a player takes the bonus token, it's removed from the game and therefore limits the choices for other players when they get there. During the game, as you build things in your zoo, if you ever completely fill all possible spaces, you get an immediate bonus of 7 appeal points. Looking at the bonuses for removing cubes at the left of your board to support conservation projects, you'll earn the bonus shown when it's removed. Plus, the top 4 earn its bonus for you each income. The top bonus is a snapping bonus, letting you take any zoo card from the display, ignoring reputation range. The second one lets you build a size 2 standard enclosure in your park. The third gives you $5, and the fourth gives you a conservation point. The first yellow one here gives you 2 reputation. The second one gives you $12, and the last one gives you 3 X tokens. This gives you money. This bonus gives you an X token. This one gives you reputation points, moving your counter up that track. This bonus token can give you a partner zoo from the available ones on the board. However, you can't take it if you haven't already upgraded the action card. Likewise, the bonus here lets you gain one of the available university tokens from the board. The 2 times bonus gives you a 2x multiplier token that you must immediately place on one of your action cards. The next time you do that action, you can do it twice in a row at the same strength before moving it to slot 1. You can spend X tokens to boost the action, but it only boosts one of them when used. This icon lets you take 1 zoo card from within reputation range off the game board or draw one from the top of the deck. This icon lets you play a sponsor card from your hand for money at the cost of the level of the card. You must still meet all requirements. This icon with the exclamation mark is for each time you play something into your zoo. The one with 3 people means each time something is played in any zoo. Take a look at the appeal track. Once you reach this space, you can now suffer the interactive effects from animal cards such as the Venom, Hypnosis, Constriction, and Pilfering abilities. It means players can target you with those cards. Anywhere you see the Lightning Bolt, it's an immediate one-time effect. The hand icon means you gain it during income. For more effects you come across, check the icon overview or the glossary booklet that comes with the game. The break track will count down the time until the next coffee break, when all players resolve a series of steps before the next player's turn. After a break resolves, the token returns to the starting position according to your game's player count. When taking certain actions or resolving certain effects, you'll be instructed to advance the break token a number of spaces. Simply move it forwards towards the end. Whenever a player forces it to the end, that player gains an immediate bonus of taking an X token to their notepad. The token stops at the end regardless of extra moves that you still have to resolve. After their turn, resolve the break steps in the order shown. First, everyone discards down to their hand limit. Normally, it's 3 cards. However, one of the universities would increase it to 5. Then everyone removes all multiplier tokens, venom tokens, and constriction tokens from any action cards. Then take all your association workers back to your notepad that were on the association board. Replenish the display of partner zoos and universities so each one is available exactly once. Next, replenish the display by discarding the lowest 2 zoo cards from the game board and sliding the rest down. Draw 2 new cards off the top of the deck to the top 2 positions. Next, players gain income simultaneously. However, some effects like taking a card from the display would have to occur in turn order. In these instances, start with the player who initiated the break going clockwise. The display will get refilled after each player takes a card. Collect money according to your appeal. Take what is shown in the brackets that the space falls in. Next, collect money for the kiosks in your park. For each kiosk, take $1 for each unique building, special enclosure, occupied enclosure, and pavilion next to it. They must share a side. Empty standard enclosures don't give you money, but empty special enclosures do. Then check for any income revealed on the left of your map or from sponsor cards played. The only income from your zoo board you can collect are ones uncovered. The cubes are removed when claiming a conservation project. Lastly, move the break token back to the start space of the track. Now we'll dive deep into the action cards and how they each work. The first one I'll explain is the card's action card. On side 1, you advance the break token 2 spaces first, then draw cards from the deck or snap a card from the display. How many cards you draw is based on the strength of the action. Check the table. Draw cards from the deck, then potentially discard one. The discarded card can be from your existing hand. If using a strength of 5, you may snap a card instead of drawing 3 and discarding one. Snapping a card means to take any zoo card that's in the display, ignoring your reputation counter. At the end of your turn, refresh the display by sliding down cards and drawing new ones on the board. There's no limit to the number of cards you can keep in your hand until the break phase happens. Side 2, or the upgraded side of the card, also first moves the break token 2 spaces, but then you can draw cards according to the new table from the top of the deck or from within your reputation range. You can draw them in any combination up to what the table says. Discard as required. With the snapping action upgraded, you can now snap a card at strength level 3 or higher. Having the card's action upgraded also lets you progress past 9 on the reputation track. The next action I'll talk about is the sponsor's action. You've got an option, the top or bottom effect. The top effect lets you play 1 sponsor card from your hand with an action cost on the card up to your strength for executing the action. This is one of those actions you can spend a lot of X tokens on to boost higher than 5 for some expensive sponsor cards. You must still meet all the requirements of the sponsor card as depicted on the left of the card. Resolve any instant effects and recurring effects. The card's own icon can boost its own effect. Keep the card next to your zoo map. The other effect you could choose instead is to advance the break token a number of spaces equal to the strength of the action and gain that much money. So a strength 4 action would advance it 4 times and give you $4. Also, you can still collect the full money even if the break token reached the final space sooner. Side 2 of the card improves all of this. For example, when choosing to advance the break token, you'll gain double the money. When doing the top effect, you may play more than one sponsor card as part of the action, as long as you pay for them all with the strength of the action. You'll want to boost this using X tokens for sure. However, you now get a bonus 1 strength on this side of the card towards paying for sponsor cards. Not only can you play sponsor cards from your hand, you may now also play them straight from the display. Any within your reputation range can be played. If playing a card from the display directly, you must also pay money equal to the number on the folder it's sitting on. When playing multiple sponsor cards, resolve one at a time. Having an upgraded sponsors card lets you play sponsor cards that have the upgraded card requirement as a condition. The text in the middle of the card tends to explain the icons at the bottom. Also, if there's an in-game scoring method, you'll also see a brown strip at the top of the card behind the card level to remind you. It's recommended to display the cards vertically, so this is a nice reminder to check it. Some sponsor cards let you immediately build a unique building in your park. Find the exact piece with its shape and animal icon on it. If there's a placement requirement, it'll be shown next to the card's level. The rock icon and water icons can be found there. If either or both is present, it means the new building must be adjacent to these features. If there's 2 rocks or 2 water there, it needs to be directly adjacent to 2 rocks or 2 water. Speaking of building things, let's now look at the Build Action card. Side 1 lets you build one building of your choice among the 5 sizes of standard enclosures, a kiosk, a pavilion, or a petting zoo. The size of each building is how many hex spaces it covers up in your park. You can only have one petting zoo in your zoo. You can build one building up to the strength of the action taken. The price of a building is $2 per hex. An overview of all the buildings are found in the column to the right of the map. Kiosks will give you money during the break times, as I previously explained. Also, a new kiosk must be at least 3 spaces away from every other kiosk. There's a reminder of this near the bottom of the map. When placing a pavilion, you gain 1 appeal, and only once. The enclosures are needed to put animals in your park. They always come onto the map empty with the enclosure size shown on it. Anytime you build something that covers a bonus, remember to take it immediately. After the build action card is upgraded, you can now build multiple buildings up to your strength, boosted by X tokens if you like, of course. If building multiple buildings, they must be different. Also, the special enclosures, the reptile house and large bird aviary are now available to be built. Both sides of the special enclosures are the same, as they use cubes to indicate occupation. The moment you build the reptile house or bird aviary, you may immediately relocate any animals in your park to it. You can't do this at any other time. Look at a valid animal type, reptile or bird, and check if there's rock or water requirements for adjacency. If the reptile house meets the requirement, it can be moved. The number of spaces the animal occupies in the special building is the number shown inside the icon. Put cubes from your supply onto the new building as long as there's enough space. Then flip over any enclosure that meets its standard enclosure requirements. It should be the smallest occupied enclosure possible. Also, you must flip one that met the rock or water adjacency requirements. Having an upgraded build action lets you now build over the hex spaces on your map that have this upgrade requirement. Let's now look at the Animals action card, starting with side 1. Depending on the strength of the action taken, you can play 1 or 2 animal cards from your hand. You can't play an animal card with a strength 1 unless you boost it by spending X tokens. Side 2 of the card lets you play 1 or 2 animals from your hand or from the display within reputation range. Pay the extra money cost equal to the folder number when doing this. You can play 2 in any combination between your hand and the display. Do not refill the display until after your turn. If you had 5 strength when doing the action, you gain 1 reputation point as well. Do this first so it can increase your reputation range for choosing an animal to play. Having an upgraded animal action card lets you play animals that have the upgraded card requirement on them as a condition. For each animal card you play, you'll do the following steps. Check the requirements on the left of the animal card. You must fulfill all the conditions, such as having a specific partner zoo animal category icons or continent icons already in your park. You'll need to have a valid empty enclosure equal to or higher than the minimum enclosure size on the card. Pay the dollar amount on the card. This cost can be reduced if you have a partner zoo collected from the continent the animal's from. You get a $3 discount per continent icon on the card. If playing an animal that gives you money, only gain after paying what you're required to. Any animal can be put into a standard enclosure except for petting zoo animals. Check the animal card for any rock or water adjacency requirements. If you have a valid empty enclosure, flip it over to show it's now occupied. Reptiles and birds can either be in a standard enclosure or the reptile house and large bird aviary, respectively. Use cubes to put them in there, shown by the number in the special enclosure icon. The petting zoo animals place one or more cubes into the petting zoo enclosure. Set the animal card on the table next to your map. It's recommended to display them vertically together to see the tops of the cards for their icons. Then do the effects of the animal card played. Increase your appeal by the amount shown on the bottom of the card. Some also give you conservation points or increase your reputation. Do all the effects of the card even before playing another animal card. If multiple effects are simultaneous, you choose the order. When an effect of the card starts with "after finishing," then wait until you finished the entire animal's action, resolving all animal cards first. After the card is moved to slot 1 is when the after finishing effects happen. The association action card side 1 lets you perform one association task on the association board. You may do a task costing up to the strength of the action. There's 4 possible tasks you can do when using side 1 of the action card. You must have an available worker on your notepad to take the action. Place it in one of the 4 spots your strength value will let you. You may place one where you don't have a worker already. If you do, you must use 2 to do the same exact action. Side 2 of the association card lets you do more than one association task as long as you spend all the required strength. You may need to boost it by spending X tokens. The Value 5 task that lets you support a conservation project can now let you play one directly from the display on the game board up to your reputation range. You must pay money equal to the number on its folder. With the upgraded action, you may also make one donation to the animal welfare program shown on the left of the board. This is in addition to choosing one of the 4 tasks. You can't only do the donation. You must have done at least one association task during this action. You'll be able to pay the smallest amount visible there to the supply to gain 1 conservation point. Mark it with one of your cubes from the supply. If all the spaces are occupied, any extra donations will be $12 and you don't need to place any more tokens on the space. So what are these 4 association tasks? For 2 strength, you can gain 2 reputation points. For 3 strength, you can take one of the available partner zoos you don't already have. Put it on the lowest spot available on your map. Collect the bonus if you cover one. To be able to have 3 or 4 on your map, you must have an upgraded association action card. If you can't place it because of this, you can't perform this task. Not only does the partner zoo provide discounts to animals played that belong to this continent, they also count as having one icon of this continent in your zoo. For 4 strength, you can take one of the available universities from the board and add it to the lowest empty spot for them on your map. Take the bonus if you cover one. You must take one you don't already have. One of these will increase your hand size to 5 during the break phase. The others add research icons to your zoo and can increase your reputation. The last task here costs 5 strength and lets you support a conservation project. You can support one of the ones set up at the beginning of the game, one currently above the board played by any player, or one from your hand. The upgraded action lets you also play one from the display. If you bring a new conservation project into play, it goes on the first space above the association board, and any cards there slide down 1 spot. Some provide you an immediate benefit when you play it, shown at the bottom right. Depending on player count, there can only be 2, 3, or 4 cards above the board. If one gets pushed out, it's put into the discard pile, and the cubes return to the owner's supplies. No new base conservation projects are added to the game, and they are never moved. To support a project or play one, you must fulfill a condition shown on the card that is still visible. If any other player's cube covers it, you can no longer fill it. Gain the shown conservation points and possible reputation points on the tracks. Each player is allowed to support a project once. If your cube is on it, you can't place another. So if you can fulfill more than one condition, choose the one that gives you the most points. Or don't, your choice. The cube placed on the project comes from one of the 7 set up on your zoo map. Choose whichever one you want and get the bonus immediately. You can choose to take the bonus before or after the conservation project reward. Most of the conservation projects have 3 conditions that could be fulfilled and associated rewards. There's 2 basic kinds. Most of them require you to have a number of specific icons in your zoo. Think animal types and continents. You'll count icons on animal cards, sponsor cards, partner zoos, and universities. The other kinds of projects will let you release an animal into the wild. Instead of collecting a number of icons, you must discard one animal from your played animal cards that meets the condition on the project. You can choose any one you want as long as it meets the enclosure size shown exactly. Lose the appeal points shown on that animal card in the corner. You won't lose its provided conservation points or reputation, nor any appeal gained through the animal's ability. Losing the animal card also means you don't get the benefit of its icons in your park, but you won't lose anything already played or gained because of those icons. Flip over the smallest occupied standard enclosure that meets the animal's enclosure size. You can ignore the water and rock requirements. Or if relevant to the petting zoo, reptile house, or bird aviary, remove the number of cubes from it per the animal's card instead of flipping an enclosure. Flock animals still require you to flip an enclosure if chosen to release them. The animal is discarded to the discard pile. The end of the game is triggered when any player's conservation counter and appeal counter are in the same scoring area or pass each other. The same scoring area means one space on the conservation track and either of the adjacent spaces on the appeal track. The player who triggered this finishes their turn, and all other players take one final turn before final scoring takes place. Should the end of the game be triggered during a break, all players get one final turn. If somehow no one reached the 10th space of the conservation track, all players will now have to discard one of their final scoring cards. Final points are scored from your final scoring card plus any others you might have been able to collect. These will show either a table on it or text to explain how they score. For scoring purposes, consider your universities and cards played in front of you for their provided icons at the top. You'll never be able to get more than 4 conservation points from a single final scoring card. Go through all your played cards and check for any that have in-game scoring. Remember that there will be a brown strip behind the card's value at the top if the card has in-game scoring at the bottom. After this, everyone who has met or moved past their counters can qualify for winning. Look at the scoring area where your conservation counter is. Find the lowest appeal number in that area, which is known as your target number. Subtract this from your appeal value to get your victory points. Compare this to see who had the most. The player with the highest positive victory points wins the game. If tied, whoever supported the most conservation projects wins. Just look at how many cubes were removed from your starting 7 on your map. If still tied, they share the victory. Ark Nova can be played completely solo. Most of the rules stay the same, but with these rule modifications. During setup, lay out 3 basic conservation project cards and don't put out any cube tokens of a different color as you might in a 2-player game. Don't set up or use the break token. Place the solo tile out next to the association board. Place 7 player tokens of an unused color on the spaces in the left column of the solo tile. Start the game with 20 appeal. Some cards don't work too well in the solo game, so they have a blue stripe at the bottom with the player icon on it. When executing the card's effects, ignore the center text. Instead, do what's shown on the strip. It's found on one final scoring card and several animal cards. In a solo game, you can have up to 2 conservation projects above the association board at a time. When you would resolve an action or effect that moves the break token, just don't move it. you would still get the money if doing the sponsor's action. Each time you end your turn, move the topmost cube from the left column of the solo tile to its right space. Once you move the last token to the right, you reveal the break icon and resolve a break. Don't take an X token for triggering the break. After resolving the normal break steps, put the topmost player token onto the open donation space with the smallest number on the association board. If all the spaces are occupied, put it next to space 12. Reset all the remaining cubes to their left columns. Each time you once again move the bottom cube over, remove the top cube again. The game lasts 6 rounds, so when there are only 2 cubes left on the tile and you just move the bottom one to the right, the game ends. Don't trigger a final break phase. Instead, proceed to final scoring. If you have at least 0 points, you've won the solo game. Shoot for the most points, of course, by passing your counters on the conservation and appeal tracks as much as possible. For your first solo game, start with an appeal of 20. However, you can adjust the difficulty by starting at 10 or even 0. For a special challenge, attempt 3 games in a row. If so, don't shuffle the cards after each game. Instead, remove all cards from that game completely. Remove the map board you used that game. Remove the 4 random bonus tokens on the conservation board used that game. Refresh the new cards from the remaining decks, new bonus tokens, and choose a new unused map. In the third game, you'll have to reuse a random 3 of the removed bonus tiles. Cards that are out of play are inaccessible, completely out of the game, except for the animal abilities Assertion and Dominance. Record your scores for each game, then total them all at the end. If the sum is at least 0, you completed the challenge. Keep the rulebook handy and check BoardGameGeek.com for FAQs and extra content. Should you come across terms, icons, or effects I haven't explained, check the icon page and the glossary book for details. The cards are numbered and can be looked up in the glossary for a more full explanation of its effects. Additionally, the abilities and effects of the advanced maps are also fully described in the glossary. The Meeple Mentor channel is now part of the board game community, the Gateway Network, made up of great upcoming board game content creators. The network includes Instagrammers, podcasters, YouTubers, artists, and more. Head to thegatewaynetwork.com to support new and independent board gamers. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Like and subscribe if you found this teaching helpful. Stick around to watch another Learn to Play video. And remember, teach when you can, but always be learning. See you next time.